Call to order the Board of Zoning Appeals. Would you stand for the pledge? Keith, would you lead us in the pledge, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing for a moment of silence. Thank you. Call a roll, please.
Keith Bratcher,
Here.
Joe Crowell,
Here.
Jerry Sartain, Joe Machado, Michael Rather,
Here.
Jared Barrett,
Here.
Dane Cantrell.
Present.
Have a quorum, sir.
Okay, Michael, you'll be the voting member for Joe Machado. We have the minutes that were mailed out to you. Are there any changes, additions, or corrections to the minutes? Do I have a motion that they be approved?
I make a motion to approve.
Do I have a motion to be approved? Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, like sign. Minutes are approved. Okay, the first item of business we have is a request by Leonard Tazar, who is requesting a variance relief. What do you have on that?
Application 2012-16, filed by Leonard Tazar, involves the property owned by Wells Fargo Bank. The location of the property is 714 Floriton Road. It's a 15-plus acre site located in a residential 15 zone. And the site is an abnormally shaped lot, and it actually crosses a Floriton. They are seeking variance relief for a 9.3-foot reduction from the 10-foot minimum required side yard on a property located within the R15 zone. And this is an after-the-fact variance. In 2006, the owner of the property at the time had pulled a building permit to construct an addition to an existing mobile home. That addition was constructed, however, the property lines were never properly identified. The house was constructed 0.7 feet off of the side property line, and we're calling this the side property line because it is an abnormally shaped lot, and based on how we define rear, side, and front, it's considered a side yard and only requires a 10-foot setback. However, this is 0.3 feet off of the property line, and I believe the surveyor is here tonight to speak to you. The owner of the property at the time also built 2 additional structures. They're not the subject of this application. However, it just goes to explain the confusion about where the rear or side property line actually was. You see in this picture here is the addition. The addition is the 2-story portion. The original mobile home is the 1-story. And the owner has since walked away from the property, and now the bank holds it. And the reason that you're here tonight is they're just trying to clean up the paperwork for this property, I guess, so they could try and sell it. And as you see, these are the other structures that the prior owner constructed without having any permits. We have no record of permits on this property for these 2 structures, and they were constructed on an adjacent parcel. So, it's a bit slow. And they also constructed a retaining wall, which, from what I understand, is located on the adjacent property. It's difficult to tell by this because I didn't call it out, but there is a fence, a temporary fence that's placed, and you can see the actual distance from the corner of the house to the property line. This is the survey that was prepared by the surveyor, who is also the agent for the applicant, and you can see the actual corner of the house coming close to the property line. And that's just a close-up of the actual construction. And just so you understand, our GIS layer is slightly off, and so it's not 100% accurate. So you might see some of the structures that we discussed earlier being shown on the property line. The actual survey renders the property line closer to the main house, and those detached accessory structures are on an adjacent property. And we posted a sign on the property. I've received 6 informational calls, and I don't know, one might be opposed, and I believe they'll be here tonight.
We have anyone here representing this request? Okay, go ahead. Come on forward.
Danielle, the two-story building didn't have a permit either?
Oh, the 2-story building had a permit. The 2 detached structures did not.
The two-story building is 7/10 of a foot off the line. How did?
That's correct. The property lines were not properly identified at the time of construction.
Thank you.
Please come to the podium, give us your name and any additional information you'd like to share with the board.
Yes, good afternoon. I am Leonard Tusar. I'm the surveyor who did the survey, and I also represent Wells Fargo Bank in this request for a variance. To the best of my knowledge in performing the survey, the deed description for the original tract, called for the west boundary line as evidenced by a fence. Now, when I was out there, it was obvious that the adjoiner had another surveyor in there and had that property line marked out and had placed a new 2-strand barbed wire fence all the way down the property line to being within that 7/10 of a foot from the corner. There was some evidence that I noticed of old fence in some of the trees. It's hard to say whether there was other conflicting cross fences there that may have led the previous owner into believing that he had additional area, to where these other 2 buildings were placed. That I can't testify to, but when the adjoiner had his property line properly marked and it came within the 7/10 of the building, then the real estate agent that handles the property for Wells Fargo Bank contracted me to do the survey to verify that property line was true and correct, and it was. As stated by Danielle, to the best of my knowledge, there was a building permit issued to remodel the existing trailer and put that 2-story addition onto that remodel.
Thank you. Do we have any questions? You may be seated. We'll open this for a public hearing. For anyone who'd like to speak on this, would you please come forward? Come to the podium, give us your name and any information you'd like to share with the board.
Good evening. My name is Cindy Boyd. I live at 663 Coleman Road in Murfreesboro along with my husband. And our property adjoins the property that you are looking at it for a variance. As you can see, at the beginning, when all of this started, we did have a fence there. It was an old fence because my parents had owned this property prior to us. But there was a fence there that the people that own this property moved or tore down. And so the fence that we've replaced it with, as you can see, goes by their back door. I'd like to share with you just 6 weeks ago what our property looked like after they built their structures on it. Ms. Glauner, if you would, and many of these pictures are like what's already been shown you. They had a double deck, I guess you'd call it, that was built on our property. The fence right here at the corner of the house being our property line between the 2 areas. They also built that barn back there, which unfortunately vandals have started taking all the tin off of, I guess, and selling. But anyway, that really doesn't matter. They built that barn, and I think you can tell there where they totally cleared with the bulldozer 5 acres of our property. I did make huge pictures of huge mounds of our trees that were there, but they didn't turn out, unfortunately. We had to have a surveyor come. We also had to have people come that was a forestry man, because our farm is in the forestry program, and he told us what the trees were worth that these people had destroyed. Also, the next one, Ms. Kleiner, I'm sorry, that's probably the same picture if you want to move on. There was the retaining wall that before had come across our property line, but where they dug out the dirt to put that there. Okay. This was, they called it a workshop that was also built on our property, built on a slab. And then again, there is their concrete drive where they closed up their garage and built all these things on our property. And then after the next one, after Wells Fargo had the decks and the concrete drive removed, there again, we put a yellow rope there so that you could more clearly see the property line between our property and their property. This next picture is the rear of their house. Now you can see where the door just goes out to nothing. And again, the last picture was the fence on the property line right there by their house. So it's our understanding from the information that we received in the mail that a variance is issued to relieve hardship on the landowner. It is our contention that when, and I don't think Wells Fargo actually made the original loan, it was a company called AmeriSave, but when this mortgage company made this loan for these people, it should have been surveyed. And there has been no recollection of any survey being made. I've talked to everything up here around the courthouse. Nobody knew of that. Even the previous homeowner said that he did not have it surveyed. And we are just not really in trying to be in a dispute with Wells Fargo, but we're just concerned that companies can come in, loan money to people, the people don't even get surveys, and they can do these kinds of things to the property and then come back and ask for a variance so that whoever moves there is probably going to come out their back door, and unless we monitor the property line, it's going to all happen again. So we just wanted you all to know that we are in opposition of this variance that they've requested, and it's nothing against them. It's just that we don't feel like that there is a hardship on the landowner. We feel like the hardship's been on us to prove that that is our land, and now we've got dozens and dozens of trees who have been destroyed that were old trees, not brand new, and we've got structures on here that people are vandalizing, and that's part of our farm. So I appreciate you letting me speak tonight, and thank you very much.
Wait just a minute. Do we have any questions?
I have a few questions, Mr. Chairman. You said this was your parents' property?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and you all had just inherited it?
We did. We bought 15 acres and built our home over on Coleman Road, but the farm runs between Floration and Coleman Road. Okay,
I'm just trying to get a time frame. In other words, when this was constructed and a lot of these structures were put on your property, when your parents were still there and controlled the property?
No, these were done about 2 years ago. Both of my parents have been dead for about 10 years.
Okay, and it's just I'm just trying to get a feel for it.
I understand.
Is this at the back of the property where you just really had no idea that they ever built those structures there? Or
yes, sir. The way our farm is, Coleman Road's here and Floration Road's here, and our home is here. Yes, so, of course, when we go to work, we go toward Murfreesboro. That is on Floration Road, which is the back side. Okay. And the only reason we knew, this has all been here for a couple of years.
Yes, ma'am.
The only reason we knew it was happening was a neighbor called because they had just built the barn and the white part and said, "Are you having clearing done? And we said, no. And they said, well, we've heard bulldozers over there a month or so ago. Now we're hearing them again. So when we went back, I didn't take a picture of the 36 acres that they also cleared with the bulldozer down from this. Not the entire 36 acres, just a big circle, like maybe for a four-wheeler car or something like that. So that's how we knew, because other than my husband walking through the woods from time to time, I mean, you know, when you work, you just go to work and come home. We hadn't really been back there.
So these structures were there for quite some time, just without your knowledge.
Yeah. Well, we've been trying to get all this resolved now for 2 years, and it was put up about 6 to 7 months, we think, before that, maybe a year before.
Oh, okay.
Finalized, everything finalized.
All righty, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you. Joe?
Would you like to see this building torn down? Is this what you're after?
I mean, I wouldn't want to make somebody tear down their home, but the part that is nearest our property is a garage. It looks like a garage. I've not been in the house, but through the window it looks like a garage that they closed in. So maybe that part removed.
How about the buildings, 2 buildings that's on your property?
Well, they, to be honest, are in a court. We go back to court in May.
You're in
Steve Waldron is our attorney, and the reason we had to get an attorney was because we didn't know what to do with the buildings. They're kind of far. They're about a half a mile from our home. So if we put anything there, you can see now they're being vandalized, so we surely wouldn't store anything in them. So, but yet, if we get somebody to move them, it's going to leave a bigger mess with the big concrete slabs and all those kinds of things. So at this point, we don't really know what to do with those buildings.
So you're in litigation now over this?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Okay,
so
thank you.
This is probably a separate issue than what we want to deal with here. It's going to have to be resolved through the courts. Jerry?
I'll just make it pretty simple. You're against that corner of the house staying that close to your property?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I just got one other question. Maybe Danielle can answer this. The structure, the home that's there, when was it constructed? We have any idea?
The two-story portion of the structure was constructed in 2006.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you. You may be seated.
Thank you.
We're still open for a public hearing for anyone who'd like to speak on this. Sure, come on.
Ms. Boyd is correct. The bank did at its expense have a crew come in there and remove that two-story deck from the encroachment on her property. They removed a portion of the stone wall that encroached on the property. They removed all the concrete apron that was there for the garage. That's why some of the pictures doesn't show that two-story area. That was removed by the bank because it encroached on the property, as you know, would create other issues, and that they had to get it off the neighbor's property. And she is correct. It is roughly a half mile from her dwelling to the back end of their farm where this is.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Anyone else? We're still open for a public hearing. Close the public hearing. Do we have a motion on it?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we deny.
We have a motion to deny. Do we have a second?
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Have something to add?
Pardon me?
He wants to know if he needs to give a reason for the denial.
He didn't give one. Do you want to give one?
Yeah, I just didn't finish. A variance is not supposed to create an adverse effect upon the neighboring properties, and that would be my reason for move for denial.
And I really have a question to do anything with this property until the litigation has been over with. That's kind of how I feel about that at this point. It may be at some other time that we might want to do that, but maybe it would be wise to wait until after the litigation's over with. Mr. Attorney, do you want to make any comment on this? Or remain silent?
I don't particularly think that particular reason that it's litigation would be a basis for the denial. I think it's certainly a legitimate reason, something to consider. But I do think it's important to state on the record the reason for the denial, as Mr. Sartain has already done.
Okay. Thank you. Call roll, please.
Keith Bratcher,
Yes.
Joe Crowell,
Yes.
Jerry Sartain,
Yes.
Michael Rather,
Yes.
Dane Cantrell.
Yes.
Motion is denied, sir.
Okay, it is denied. The next item we have Surefire Fireworks, and we have two of those, one at Highway 99 and the other one on the Lebanon Pike. And we will take both of those, at least the information on it, then we'll come back and vote on each one of them.
Okay. The first of the two applications filed by Surefire is application 2012-17. They would like to erect a temporary fireworks permit on a property located in the services zone. They were located at this site last year. It is the Dollar General site located at Clear Ridge and Highway 99. We received no complaints on this particular fireworks stand. They want to establish for the same duration that they were established last year, which was the 2 weeks prior to July 4th. The same hours of operation and a number of employees are proposed. As we've discussed in the staff report, staff has not received any phone calls regarding this particular application. There were no complaints, if I've not already said that. They will use existing parking that's located in this little shopping center for customers of the fireworks tent. We posted a sign on the property. That's the location of the stand, access ways, and this is a site plan that the applicant has submitted showing the placement of the tent on right next to the grassy parcel, next to the concrete parking lot. And this is the aerial of the property, and staff is recommending approval with conditions. The next application's 2012-18. This request is for a conditional use permit for a temporary fireworks stand, and they want to locate at 6044 Lebanon Pike. They've been located at this site for at least 4 or 5 years, many more, I'm sure, but since I've been here, I've processed an application every year, and it's at the intersection of Jefferson Pike and Lebanon Pike. They're wanting to locate at the convenience store, use existing parking area for their customers. We've received no phone calls regarding this particular application, nor have we received any complaints. We posted a sign on the property, and I'm just going through surrounding pictures of surrounding areas as well as the site itself. And all of their requests involves the same hours of operation, number of employees that they have requested in prior years, and it's outlined in your report. Staff is recommending approval with conditions. We posted a sign, and this is the site plan that the applicant has submitted for your consideration. And that concludes staff presentation on 2012-17 and 2012-18.
Do we have someone here representing Surefire? Do we have any questions over either one of those sites? Okay, first one we'll open for a public hearing will be the Highway 99 site. Do we have anyone here for a public hearing? Close the public hearing on the 99 site, the Lebanon Highway Pike site. We'll open that for a public hearing. Anyone here? We'll close the public hearing on both of those. Thank you so much. Do I have a motion on it? First, the Highway 99 site.
I make a motion be approved.
Have a second? Have a motion and a second. This is Highway 99 site. Call the roll, please.
Keith Bratcher,
Yes.
Joe Kroll,
Yes.
Jerry Sartain,
Yes.
Michael Rather,
Yes.
Dane Cantrell.
Yes.
Motion carries, sir.
Okay, now we will, I'll entertain a motion on the Lebanon Highway site. Do we have a motion on that?
Be approved.
Have a motion that be approved?
Second.
Have a second. Call the roll, please.
Keith Bratcher,
Yes.
Joe Kroll,
Yes.
Jerry Sartain,
Yes.
Michael Rather,
Yes.
Dane Cantrell.
Yes.
Motion carries, sir.
It is approved. We have 4 sites for Absolute Fireworks. Do we have someone here from Absolute Fireworks? Okay, if you'll come around, please. The first site we will consider will be the Lebanon Highway. Then we'll have one on the Las Casas Highway, then Highway 99, and then the Old Nashville Highway. Would you give us information on those 4 sites, please?
Sure. The first location involves application 2009-19, located at 5975 Lebanon Pike. This is, again, a temporary fireworks stand. The Absolute Fireworks was located at this site. They are requesting the same exact use they have. In the prior application, we received no complaints on this particular site. It's a Dollar General shopping center at Walter Hill, and they will be located in a grassy area and use the existing parking lot for customers. This is photos of the surrounding area, and we've received no calls on this particular application, nor have we had any complaints in the past regarding the fireworks tent being located here. We posted a sign on the property, and this is just a conceptual plan submitted by the applicant to show the location of the fireworks tent on the site. The next application, 2012-20, involves the temporary sale of fireworks in the services zone, and this is the property located at 2706 Las Casas Pike. This site was processed last year. It was the first time they were located at this particular Dollar General, but we received no complaints on this particular location. Their request is the same as last year's, and that's established in the report, and we're recommending conditions. We received one informational call regarding the application because they received a sign and a letter, but once they heard that it was the fireworks tent, they had no issues with it. And we posted the sign on the property, and you can see that its location and surrounding areas. So not much has changed in a year. So. Okay, and the next location's 2911 Highway 99. Application 2012-21 seeks approval for the fireworks stand in the commercial plan zone. This is located off of Armstrong Valley Road and Highway 99. It's called WT's Market, and they were located here for the past 2 years at least. And we've had no complaints apart from one we addressed last year that just happened to be resolved. The state had no complaints with its placement away from the gasoline pumps. But there is a fire hydrant and fire protection located at this particular site if that's a concern. We posted a sign on the property. We've received no calls on this particular application this year, and we are recommending approval with conditions. And the last application for Absolute Fireworks tonight is application 2012-22. They are seeking conditional use permit for the fireworks tent in the C2 zone. And this location they've been at many years. It's Old Nashville and Baker Road. It's a vacant parcel that they actually go out and mow and have a fenced area for the tent. And we've received no phone calls on this particular application. We've not ever had any complaints on this particular tent at this location, and we are recommending approval with conditions, and we also posted a sign on the site. And that concludes our presentation.
Okay, we'll open a public hearing first on the Absolute Fireworks on Lebanon Pike. Do we have anyone who'd like to speak on that request? Close the public hearing. The next one will be the Las Casas Highway site. Do we have anyone who would like to speak on this site? Close the public hearing. The Highway 99 site, do we have anyone who would like to speak on this site? Close the public hearing. And the Old Nashville Highway site, do we have anyone who would like to speak on that? Close the public hearing. Thank you. You may be seated. All right, let's take the first site, the Lebanon Highway. Do we have a motion on that?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve.
Have approval on the Lebanon Highway site. Do we have a second?
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Keith Bratcher,
Yes.
Joe Crowell,
Yes.
Sartain,
Yes.
Michael Rather,
Yes.
Zane Cantrell.
Yes.
Motion carries, sir.
Next site is the Lebanon, or the Las Casas Pike site. Do we have a motion on that?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve.
Have a motion to be approved. Do we have a second?
Second.
Jerry, call the roll, please.
Bratcher,
Yes.
Joe Crowell,
Yes.
Jerry Sartain,
Yes.
Michael Rather,
Yes.
Zane Cantrell.
Yes.
Motion carries, sir.
Next site is the Highway 99 site. Do we have a motion on that?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve.
Have a motion to be approved.
Second.
Have a second. Call the roll, please.
Keith Bratcher,
Yes.
Joe Crowell,
Yes.
Jerry Sartain,
Yes.
Michael Rather,
Yes.
Zane Cantrell.
Yes.
Motion carries, sir.
Okay, and the fourth site is the Lebanon Pike site. Do we have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I
on that?
make a motion to approve.
Have a motion for approval. Do we have a second?
Second.
Had a hard decision there. Call the roll, please.
Bratcher,
Yes.
Joe Crowell,
Yes.
Jerry Sartain,
Yes.
Michael Rather,
Yes.
Zane Cantrell.
Yes.
Motion carries, sir.
Okay, we have two other sites that are fireworks sites. Jake Lloyd, do we have anyone here representing that? If you'll come around, please. Give us the information you have on these two sites, please.
The first of two applications filed by Jake Lloyd involves the property located at 5630 Lebanon Pike, application 2012-23. This is actually a new site for Mr. Lloyd. However, he was located on an adjacent site last year and the year prior, owned by the same individual. However, the use of that site it's pretty busy now, and so I'm assuming, has offered this particular site, the plumbing business and the parking area for that particular business, as a location for the temporary fireworks stand. The two prior years that he was located on the adjacent site, we received no complaints on it, and we've not received any phone calls, with the exception of one informational call from someone who received a letter. But this is the location of the fireworks stand this year, and it's actually the same location as the vegetable stand that we processed last year by Sherman Conger. He will be located within the parking area, the paved parking area, and these are photos of the site. We posted a sign on the property area. And just drew a shape. Sadly, the color didn't come through on this particular computer, but that's the approximate location of the fireworks stand, and we just took the location that Mr. Conger had proposed last year. It's immediate. The next application, 2012-24, involves the property located at 3960 Shelbyville Pike, and it's located in the C2 zone. He has been located at the site for several years, and we've not received any complaints regarding this particular location or the operation of the tent in prior years. We posted the sign on the property, and we are recommending approval with conditions. And that concludes our presentation.
Do we have any questions from the board on either one of these sites? Okay, we'll open this for a public hearing for anyone who'd like to speak on the Lebanon Pike site. Close the public hearing on the Lebanon site Pike. The next one would be the Shelbyville Pike site. We'll open the public hearing for that. Do we have anyone who'd like to speak on that? Close the public hearing. Thank you. You may be seated. We'll take a vote on first the Lebanon Highway site. Do we have a motion on it?
Move to approve.
Have a motion to be approved. Do we have a second? Got a second. Call the roll, please.
Bratcher,
Yes.
Joe Crowell,
Yes.
Jerry Sartain,
Yes.
Michael Rather,
Yes.
Zane Cantrell.
Yes.
Motion carries, sir.
Next site would be at Shelbyville Highway. Do we have a motion on that?
Move to approve.
Have a motion to be approved. Do we have a second? Got a second. Call the roll, please.
Bratcher,
Yes.
Joe Crowell,
Yes.
Jerry Sartain,
Yes.
Michael Rather,
Yes.
Zane Cantrell.
Yes.
Motion carries, sir.
Okay, both of those are approved. The next item we have is Building Company Number 7. They're requesting a conditional use permit for an accessory dwelling. What do you have on that, please?
Okay, application 2012-25 filed by Building Company Number 7 involves the property located at 1255 Lunar Drive, and this is a .37 acre parcel located in a residential 15 zone. They are seeking conditional use permit for the establishment of an accessory dwelling unit on a parcel less than 1 acre with variance relief from the 1,200 square foot maximum for detached accessory structures and relief from the 20% maximum lot coverage for properties located within the residential district. And the applicant would simply like the option to build a 2-story detached accessory structure that will measure 1,600 square feet. The dimensions of the structure will be 33 by 25. It will have a brick exterior similar to the residential homes in this area. And these are photos of the surrounding area. We have received several phone calls, mostly informational. However, I did have one phone call that was in opposition, and I have also passed out to each of you a letter that was submitted from a neighboring property owner in opposition of the request, citing that it might have a negative effect on their property values, and that it did not comply with the covenants and restrictions of the community, which we do not enforce, and that would be enforced through civil action. And I'll just go through. We posted a sign on the property. You can see the neighboring properties. This is just the space between the two structures and other homes. These are very small lots, and large homes are located on all of the lots. And so it probably wouldn't seem out of scale with the community, the addition of the accessory dwelling unit. This is the approximate location of its placement. And so you can see the driveways, the common area, and the applicant has supplied us with a conceptual plan showing the location of the ADU. And we have included conditions for the board to consider, and that concludes our presentation.
We have anyone here representing this request? If you'll come around, please. Come to the podium, give us your name and any additional information you might want to share.
My name is Matt Millsap. We're requesting this variance. There's other dwellings, accessory dwellings similar to this in the subdivision. It's going to match the house. It's going to be a 2-car garage and a pool house. Most of the unit, you can see, not most, but part of it's blocked by the existing home. So we don't believe it'll have any negative impact on the subdivision or property values.
Any questions? Keith?
So this 2-story structure, it's going to be, what is it going to be?
It's going to be a 2-car garage, and we're going to put a bathroom in it because there's going to be a pool constructed in the back behind the house.
Okay, so what's going to be on the upper level of the structure?
The upper level we're going to leave open for future use. It may be a mother-in-law suite in the future that would be if the mother-in-law decides to move here from Cookville.
Okay, maybe. That's not your intent of what you're constructing it for right now.
At this time, it is not. However, the mother-in-law and father-in-law are wanting to get close to.
I see.
their people.
I'm not real familiar with the area. I mean, as far as other structures in that area, but so all the ground floor is going to be a garage. In other words, you park under it. The other structure, living structure, will be above.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Go.
Chairman, I get this from Danielle. You know, they're not going to finish this upstairs now. Is that what you're saying? What he's saying? The upstairs will not be finished.
Well, I'm assuming that's what the applicant just said. However, I believe he wanted the option, and that's why he's coming before you, because he needed to get the variance anyway to build the structure itself. And so because the process is the same, he could make for future plans and get approval for future plans for the structure.
Will he have to come back and get a building permit to
Yes,
turn
sir.
this into an upstairs apartment?
Yes, absolutely, if he doesn't build it initially as an ADU. Accessory dwelling unit, I'm sorry.
Would this ever be a rental apartment above your garage?
No, sir. It would no. There's no intention by the homeowner to make this a rental unit. It would be a mother-in-law suite for a retiring mother and father when they decide to come.
Does the neighbors on both sides, right and left, approve of you building this?
They aren't in opposition to the structure. They were concerned with our setbacks. However, we do intend to comply with the neighborhood setbacks. We're in compliance with Rutherford County setbacks as far as the side and the rear. The covenants for the neighborhood are going to require 10 feet, so we're going to have to scoot it over another 5 feet. They request that we build within the guidelines of the covenants of the neighborhood, which we completely and fully intend on doing.
Thank you.
Any other? Go ahead.
Can you tell me your structure, your home? Do you know how many square foot it is?
I believe it's about 3,700 feet, 3,200 feet.
About 3,200 square feet. I just got a question for Danielle. That 3,200 square feet home he has, and we talk about the 20% maximum of his lot coverage. How do you know, would his home already almost cover that max?
I don't have the exact lot coverage numbers. I did calculate it when I initially reviewed it to determine how much it exceeded the 20% maximum. However, the second floor of a structure is not considered in the calculation of lot coverage. You
Right.
take the actual footprint of all covered roof portions of a structure. And so he might say 3,200 square feet, but that might not be areas that would include a covered porch or anything. But the figures that we pulled were from the property appraiser's website, and we took the areas of those shapes that were shown to be the structure. That was the taxed area of the property. So that's what we used. Might not be exact 100%, but that's why I kind of cushioned the 24. It's 23-something as proposed with his 33 by 25.
Okay, so if we approve this, he would have 23% lot coverage?
It would be between 23 and 24% lot coverage, which is not uncommon in this particular subdivision.
All righty, thank you.
Jerry, go ahead.
I didn't see it in there. He said that he was building a pool. This does not include the pool, correct?
I've not had any discussions about a pool, but we don't use that in calculating lot coverage.
Any other questions? Thank you. You may be seated. We'll open this for a public hearing for anyone who'd like to speak on this request. Closing public hearing. Do we have a motion on it?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve.
I have a motion to be approved. Do we have a second?
I second.
Have a second. Call the roll, please.
Bratcher,
Yes.
Kroll,
Yes.
Jerry Sartain,
Yes.
Michael Rather,
Yes.
Zane Cantrell.
Yes.
Motion carries, sir.
Okay. The next item is a request by Jeffrey Turner, and this is a request for a conditional use permit to allow establishment of photography shop and retail. What do you have on that?
All right, thank you. Application 2012-26 filed by Jeffrey Turner involves the property located at 3167 Franklin Road. It's a .38 acre parcel and it's zoned services. It was rezoned in 2009. It was previously used as a residence. It was rezoned in 2009 to allow professional offices. Since then, the tenant has vacated the structure and they would like to expand the permitted uses for this particular property to include a photography studio as well as retail sales. They have gone before the Planning Commission for site plan approval during the initial use change, and so the existing parking area, access to the property, and all those other elements that are associated with commercial development have already been verified. We are just considering the two additional uses for the services zone, which are the photography studio and retail sales. The existing signage on the property will be used. We received a phone call from a property owner across the street. The church indicated that they had no opposition to the proposed request. That was the only call we received on this particular application, and it's located on Franklin Road, which is very busy, Highway 96. And that concludes our presentation.
Okay, this is currently has a service zoning, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Do we have anyone here representing this request? If you come around, please give us your name and any additional information.
Turner, I am the property owner. Really here for questions, I guess.
Do we have any questions? Jerry?
Mr. Turner, retail sales is kind of a broad term, so what's your plans?
The tenant I have wishes to start a children's boutique, specialty clothes.
Would you have a problem with us specifically calling that out if it's approved? Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you. You may be seated. We'll open this for a public hearing for anyone who'd like to speak on this request. Close the public hearing. We have a motion on it.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve and the uses be a photography studio or boutique sales.
We have a second.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Keith Bratcher,
Yes.
Joe Kroll,
Yes.
Jerry Sartain,
Yes.
Michael Rather,
Yes.
Zane Cantrell.
Yes.
Motion carries, sir.
Okay, the next item we have is a request by Robert Phillips, and this is in the Christiana, I believe it's in the Christiana community. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, and we have a number of partials, and this is to establish a farmer's market, special event venue, and community festivals, retail and wholesale trade, and service. Go ahead. What do you have on?
Application 2012-27, filed by Robert Phillips, involves various properties located in the Christiana area, and we've listed each of them on our staff report and advertised each of the properties. However, we'll use 7011 Main Street as the main address, which is the location of, I believe, Miller's Grocery. And as you see in the aerial, all of those properties that are highlighted in red are the properties involved and are part of this application. And they are seeking conditional use permit approval to allow this establishment of a farmers market, special event venue, and community festivals for properties located in the retail and wholesale trade, services, and R15 zones. So all of the properties have various zones. The first part of the request involves the farmers market, craft fairs, and special events. As part of this, they're going to construct a pavilion on the the site that actually has the gift shop that was located here. And the pavilion will be located in this corner area directly across from the Miller's site, grocery site. And that will be used for the farmers market, the special events that might be rented for special events or craft fairs. This particular portion of the request will only affect the parcels mentioned in this paragraph, which are 16 and 17 Miller's Grocery, and there will be overflow parking available for parcel 13, which is the church parking lot further down the street on Church Street. And the second part of this request are street festivals. They have not yet determined a date, but this would be a semi-annual or annual event where it would be, a celebration of music, celebration of this community, and they have multiple. The remaining properties have joined in, and there will be outdoor booths, parking, and the pavilion site will be used as well. And I'm just going to go through the photos. We posted three signs throughout the community, the main sites that were mostly going to be affected throughout both applications. However, it's a neighborhood effort. Now, originally, just to note, the pavilion, they had originally thought that they had to get a variance, but a variance has been already processed for the gift shop site, allowing a closer front yard requirement, and that applies to the whole property, so the pavilion will not require an additional variance. And so we struck that from the request because it's already in place. And I've taken photos of just the area. This is looking down Church Street. There will be booths on various properties throughout Church Street. And this is the church, and across the street, they have given them permission to use their paved parking area as overflow parking and parking for the festival. The applicant, is very aware of during the special event phases, they will have portalettes brought in. They'll work with fire and police for traffic circulation and safety, emergency safety. So staff is recommending approval with conditions. We've received 3 to 4 informational calls on this particular request. Once they heard what it was, they had no concerns regarding the request. And you can see this is staff, took the applicant site plan and just prepared kind of a general area. You can see where these are the properties that are affected by the farmers market, and they have in green. And then these are the parking areas that will be provided for the farmers market. And then this is the festival site plan. In green, you'll have the festival areas. Festival booths are in blue. The parking is in gray. And this is just the map that was submitted with your packets. It corresponded with the staff comments, so you could understand which properties were actually being affected. And that concludes staff's presentation.
Okay, do we have anyone here representing this request? If you'll come around, please.
My name's Rob Phillips. I'm with Miller's Grocery in Christiana, and Danielle's done a pretty good job of describing what we want to do out there, so if there's any questions.
Have any questions? Joe?
You have plans on closing the streets down. Are you going to close both Daniel streets, both ends?
No, sir. We have, it's in the application that should we ever close any part of Church Street, it would be from Main Street only up to Suggs, leaving open Church Street all the way down to Suggs, and then leaving Daniels open so that people can get to the post office and still be able to get to their homes on Daniels.
Those streets will be open. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
You got approval from all these people to...
I certainly did. I went door to door, and and talked to all of them. And
Anybody object up that street?
no, sir, nobody was objectful. I had a few that didn't want to sign on right away. They didn't have any problem with it, but they just weren't so sure they wanted to be involved, but didn't have a problem with us doing this on their street.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you, appreciate that. We'll open this for a public hearing for anyone who would like to speak on this request. We'll close the public hearing. We have a motion on it.
I'll make a motion be approved.
I'll second the motion.
Call the roll, please.
Keith Bratcher,
Yes.
Joe Crowell,
Yes.
Jerry Sartain,
Yes.
Michael Rather,
Yes.
Dane Cantrell.
Yes.
Motion carries, sir.
Okay, do we have any other business to come before the board? No, sir. Thank you so much. We are adjourned.